All right, we got to kill something real quick. We're going to kill the fantasy real quick. $100,000. It's not a luxury wedding budget in South Florida. It's almost a baseline. If you think you're getting a full hotel, let me rephrase that, a full hotel wedding with 150-ish guests, a Pinterest perfect vibe for that price, we're going to have a talk about this.
Today we're breaking down where your money's actually going, why hotels are not budget friendly, and why your guest list might be your biggest financial mistake. You want to know what the real problem is? It's not the cost, it's the expectations.
Let's get into this one today. So I think one thing that would be smart to do, I don't like the word pussyfoot, but babying the couples. Like, don't baby them anymore. Tell them flat out how it is. And a lot of people, I think they're scared to be honest with them about.
I'm extremely honest, and that might be my backfall. But if you call me and you say, hey, Marylen, I want to hire you as my planner. You just did this beautiful wedding at the Four Seasons, at the Biltmore, etc. I want my wedding to look exactly like that. I have 150 people. I have $100,000. The first thing that comes out of my mouth, unfortunately, what I blurt out is, I can't help you. But then I go into, I'm being completely honest with you. $100,000 is not going to get you any wedding that you've seen in my portfolio.
It's unfortunate.
Or maybe in anyone's portfolio. You know, minimums at hotels right now in Miami are anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000.
And that's just food and beverage,
Food
right?
and beverage minimum. And that's like if I tell you, okay, this ballroom is a $65,000 minimum plus service, plus tax.
Isn't it 3 pluses?
Service, tax.
And gratuity? No?
No, tax and service is the same.
I think, does Miami Beach have a third one?
It's like a Miami Beach tax.
Okay.
You know, so there, yes.
I thought it was plus for some reason.
It's plus everything.
There's no minuses.
There's no minus anywhere, no freebie. You know, you're paying for that that one night stay that you get for free in a suite. You're paying for that some way, somehow. But truth be told, you know, inflation has gone up immensely. And a wedding that we did a wedding years ago where, you know, parents gave her $80,000 for a wedding of 200 people. And I was like, wow, this is a great budget. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, I don't even know where to tell you to look. You know, it's a lot.
And I don't think people always realize that let me rephrase it. I think oftentimes people think, oh, but it's okay. My aunt has a beautiful home. I'll do it there.
It's just as expensive.
It's just as expensive. When you think of flooring, tenting, all the rentals you have to bring in. Generators.
For all the power.
Bathrooms.
Valet. Finding a lot to park all the cars. It's
home weddings aren't necessarily more cost effective unless the home is built as a venue.
Yeah. South Florida weddings are definitely not what they used to be. Everything is very, very pricey. And I think, you know, you need to find people that are going to be transparent with you from the get-go.
Yeah. I think what also happens is when people step into a wedding and they don't work with a planner, they're blindsided because sometimes they make an investment in a space before looking at the whole list of venues and vendors they have to hire. Sometimes they don't realize, oh, I'm hiring 16 different companies. And they only really factored in 4 or 5.
Right.
Then they're screwed.
Yeah. And I like how this next segment that we're going to talk about is called, it's like, you're not broke, you're underestimating.
That's exactly it.
You're not broke, you're underestimating. For example, you're having a client, and listen, we're very transparent here, so we're just going to talk about pricing. You're going to have a client call you and say, hey, listen, I want you 10 hours to work my wedding. I want you to be there for 10 hours. It's at this location. You're then going to have to go to this location. We're going to need you for first look. We're going to need an entire day, etc. My budget is $5,000.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But I think we need to talk about, if we are going to work together, what that would look like. Because it's true, there are people who are going to do that. And I think they have to weigh out level of service, quality of product, experience, right? You have to look at all those things and realize, well, if this is where my money is going to be, where can I find the right match for that? And I always take people's calls and I'll have a conversation with them and I'll try to educate them and I'll try to give them some sort of insight and say, listen, I might not be the one for you. I think financially I'm outside the range of what you want to invest. If things change in the future, I'd love to talk to you. But it's hard because you want to service those people, but it might not make sense for your business model and your finances.
And it sucks too, because sometimes I'll get a call from, a prospective client and we'll have this like great conversation and this great chemistry. And then they're like, oh, my budget is $70,000. And I'm like, okay, well, you can't hire me because if you factor in what I charge with your budget, you're not going to have a lot of money left for everything else that you need, and it's such a tough conversation. And I like to be honest, and I tell them, listen, you're not going to have enough money for this. You're not going to have enough money for that. But you might find like a smaller venue, I don't like to call them banquet halls, but you might find, like a little, hall here and there that may be able to do it for you. But the look that you're talking about that you want, you're not going to be able to get. And it's a heartbreaking conversation, but it's also a very honest one.
We had our guest here in our last season, Chris Weinberg. And I think one thing she does, which is not often done, is she will basically create a budget before she signs with the client. Because she's so meticulous about making sure you know where your dollars go. And she'll give you a full range of all the professionals on the low and the high, so that if you go everything low, you're in this bracket. If you go everything high, you're in this bracket. And that's a service that I rarely see people do, because you're putting so much work ahead of yourself before getting hired.
But at the same time, she's probably also alleviating a lot of work, future work or future headaches that she may have to deal with people that don't have realistic expectations.
Yeah, because I think expectations are hard to match sometimes when it's been a fantasy in their head for such a long time.
And then, like recently I did a wedding, and, the parents came back to me because, again, there was another planner involved, and then I became the planner, and it was a back and forth. And, I have known the family for a really long time. And when they got the final bill from the hotel, the mom goes to me, this is double what they were actually first proposed. And I said, well, the first proposal had your basic collection. Your 4 hors d'oeuvres, your standard bar, not premium, which is what you have now. It had chicken.
Not filet mignon.
Right? No, you're offering people choice of.
Right.
So that ups the cost as well. So unfortunately, because they didn't have me as a planner, that's where I would have been like, wait, let's start off from the beginning. You're not going to start at the base package because that's not what your family is expecting or what they want.
At all.
So it's thoroughly looking at that and being extremely honest on expectations overall.
And I think it also takes a level of honesty for those people who work in the hotel industry, because it's hard. Because I think there's a space where they want to get the sale, they want to get the client, but sometimes it's hard to say, listen, I know it looks like it's going to start here, but hearing what you're telling me, you're probably going to be here, because it's telling me you're going to spend more money than you really are.
Right. And before before I sign a client at any property, I ask them to give me a pro forma invoice. Like, give me an invoice.
What's that word?
Pro forma.
Pro forma?
Right?
I've never heard of it. What does that mean?
So kind of like, give me an invoice basically with everything that's on there before we sign. Like, give me all the breakdown. Like, this is the collection I'm looking at. It's $300 per person, what it includes. Give me an extra hour of bar. What am I paying for bartenders? What am I paying for the power drop?
Almost like an itemized.
Right. Itemized invoice. What am I paying for the power drop? And tell me overall where I'm going to be. You know, give me the worst case scenario. And that's what I go to my client with.
Yeah.
This is worst case scenario, but a lot of people don't do that. They just like assume.
And then at the end of the day, you have this invoice that you're freaked out about because it's that. And that's where it comes back to. It's you're not broke. You just didn't understand or didn't budget accordingly because they told you differently.
Now, another thing you also have to realize is that there is barely any negotiation with a hotel.
No. Why would they negotiate?
The hotel doesn't need you.
They don't. That's the thing is like, I think couples go into a venue and think, hey, they need my business. Do they appreciate it? Yeah. But I hate to break it to you. Weddings are not the primary source of income for hotels. It's going to be their corporate work.
They have a social side and they have a corporate side.
Corporate is Monday through Friday, every single day, and wedding is one day in the weekend.
Correct.
Yeah, you can't compete.
But there's a lot, there's that, that expectation, again, unrealistic expectation that, the hotel's going to negotiate with me because they need my business. I'm being sincerely honest with you and open. No hotel will negotiate a price per person. That price will always stay the same. Maybe you can negotiate, depending on the season, the minimum in the actual ballroom.
Sure.
But let's say that the price per person is $300 and you're going to have 200 guests and their minimum in the ballroom is $65,000. And you negotiate that minimum. I got them down to 55. Guess what, sweetie? Do 300 times 200.
Yeah, absolutely.
You negotiated for nothing just to make it look like you negotiated on paper.
Yeah.
You're going to go over that minimum regardless.
Easily. I was watching TikTok and it was someone who was going wedding venue shopping and they had mentioned that they went to a 5-star hotel. And how the hotel said, just go to the front desk and they'll show you.
Did you see my comment? I commented on it.
I did. But you weren't the only one who commented. And a lot of people did.
Yes.
And her experience was they were very dismissive. They didn't show her around. They were very blah about it. And many people said, hey, you really need to set up an appointment with the sales and catering department. They are a great property. They do great work. They'll definitely help you out. They're super accommodating, very friendly. And she almost was very dismissive about it. I think
she was. I was like, you can't afford the fucking place.
Right. Like, I think that there was a place for her of thinking they need me.
Yeah. Right. She was like, And you, again, what everybody does, they put it on TikTok so that everybody can see.
Yeah.
Then, hey, this venue didn't appreciate me, didn't appreciate my business, which is why I jumped in because I have worked at that venue numerous times. Okay. I have taken celebrity basketball players and football players to this venue and they have done a spectacular job.
They do a great job.
No matter who the client is. But she went in there without an appointment thinking, they're going to service me because I'm a bride, because I'm going to bring them business. No, sweetie, it doesn't work that way. They're going to roll the red carpet out for you for sure.
Yeah.
When you make the appropriate appointment and see the correct people that you need to see.
When you go through the appropriate channels.
Yeah. I got pissed off too when I read that. I'm like, no, you stupid bitch.
I saw a lot of people commenting on that one.
Not that I would have said that, but.
So, I think when COVID happened and we had very relaxed rules, we did get a huge influx of
New Yorkers
and people from California and people wanting to be in South Florida, Miami, specifically.
Because they were allowed here to do a lot of shit that they weren't able to do up there.
Exactly. But that brought all the prices up because we now had more people who wanted to do more events.
Puteria costs money.
Puteria costs money. Quote that one. And it does. And that's what happened to our market. Now, venues are about 30% more expensive than they were.
There is a hotel, a property, a resort, where just 6 months ago, the minimum in the ballroom was $85,000. It is now $100,000.
Oh, man.
And they are fucking booked. Okay? So South Florida is a luxury destination to have your wedding.
It really is. And for those watching, I think what happens is this podcast is primarily about ripping back the curtain and showing you things that maybe you don't know about, maybe you haven't experienced, and maybe it's not in your realm. What we talk about here, and I say this very clearly because we got some comments on one of our last episodes, this is not every single situation. This is a percentage of them, right? And that varies. Sometimes they're smaller, sometimes they're bigger. Is Miami only a luxury playground? It's not. They are venues that are going to be very accommodating to a ton of budgets.
And vendors. Yeah.
And vendors.
Of course.
Correct. You're going to have the gamut. We end up working in a more luxury space. So that's often what we're going to talk about and can relate to. Not to say we haven't worked in those spaces or venues, but in full transparency, we work in a higher market. But South Florida has become a predominantly strong luxury market. And that's what we're speaking to. So when you hear this or when you see the tidbit or the small little clip on social media, know that we're connecting to that, but there is also another market that's there, that's thriving, because those other venues that you talked about earlier that have a much smaller number for investment and much smaller investment point are thriving.
They are. They're booked on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays because people want to get married. They want to have a certain look to the wedding, but they don't have, the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's totally fine.
And it's beautiful.
Right. And we're not here being negative Nellies about how horrible the market is and how horrible our clients are. We're not. We have beautiful clients. Yeah. We love what we do, which is why we've been doing this for 25 years. But we're also very transparent. And I think that's why we have been successful for so long, because of our transparency. Yeah. We don't beat around the bush. We tell it to you nicely. Manolo nicer than I do. But
that's for sure.
For sure. But we do have to let you know what you're seeing on Pinterest.
Yeah.
And even type up Miami weddings on Pinterest. Everything you're seeing there is not $100,000.
Yeah, the photo doesn't always align with a price tag. So we say that, and we want you to know that our goal in this podcast is to give you some insight. As we call it, it's a ringleader show. This we consider kind of like a circus, not in a derogatory way, but in a fun way. And we want to kind of like pull the curtain back and say, hey, this is what happens sometimes at these events and these weddings that you're seeing on social media.
That look flawless, but you don't know the BTS behind it in order for it to look flawless in front of a camera.
Right. And then sometimes we don't have the experience to tell you about the events that happen at other venues that might be at a different price point because we're not working there, right? But not to say that doesn't still thrive.
Yeah.
That's my rant.
The other thing is winter weddings in Miami. You are going up against New York billionaires. I'm not kidding. All the snowbirds want to come here.
Yep.
All the snowbirds want to get married here. All the people with properties all over the world want to come here during winter to host these weddings.
Yeah.
So you are competing with that type of market.
Absolutely.
Again, which is why a hotel is like, okay, you can't afford us. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
November, probably I would say to maybe mid-April. That season is winter.
That's why it's our busiest wedding season. Our seasons start in October and end of May.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to get married here in the summer. It's humid, hot, it's disgusting. Mm-hmm. And that is when creative partners like you, because I know you've done this, go to New York and have New York weddings from June to October.
Yeah, because we could do that. Absolutely.
So.
Well, you said something earlier about Pinterest.
Pinterest lied to everybody. Pinterest keeps lying to people. They're not lying. They're just creating unrealistic expectations.
That's what it is. You don't see a price tag next to a photo. So then people get so excited and they create all these beautiful boards, but then when they turn around and look at the dollar, they don't realize what it really costs to make that happen.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
And it's, like my sister says all the time, I blame social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
But where are you looking? Are you on social media looking at these less expensive venues? You're not. You're looking at Four Seasons. You're looking at
St. Regis.
Yep. That's what you're looking at to get your inspiration. And unfortunately, that comes with a hefty price tag.
Yeah.
So something else to consider is your guest list.
Yeah.
Because the more people you have at the wedding, the more cost there is per person.
How many people would you have at your wedding?
Shit.
And would it be in Hialeah?
Probably be in Angelito's Banquet Hall in Hialeah because I think that's what I could afford. Listen, and I tell people all the time, I don't lie. I said, I can't afford me. If I were to get married tomorrow, I can't afford me. But, you know, I value me. I know too many people, which is why I probably wouldn't have a wedding. Which is why I always say I would have a beautiful ceremony and then I would try to close off the bar in the Gables, the bar that's like this, the bar in the Gables. And I tell everybody, meet me over there. I'm going to have McDonald's.
Frankie's Pizza.
Frankie's Pizza, but I'm going to have an open tab, okay?
Perfect.
So you guys drink it up, and we're going to have a great party. I don't want to see not one fucking flower hanging from anywhere. Sorry, my peeps. But listen, but I'm real with myself. I know what I can afford and what I can't. And being in this industry, I would probably have a lot of people being like, hey, we'll help you out. I still can't afford it.
Yeah.
So your guest list is the most important part of this entire event. And I know you're thinking, hey, it's $200 per person. I can do 100 people. It's not $200 per person. Stop looking at the menu price per person.
No, but that doesn't include anything in as far as services.
All it includes is food and liquor.
Yeah.
You're not looking at a seating arrangement, a linen, a chair, a centerpiece. You know, you're thinking it's only
hair,
it's
makeup.
Hair. It's only 30 more people. 30 times 200 times centerpieces times 3 tables times 30 chairs. It adds up. Every time you think it's only, add 5 to 10 grand to whatever you're saying. Easy. It's only to.
And again, I go back to what I just said. We're talking about a luxury space.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that would be very smart for people to do is count all their pennies, know where their top line dollar is, work with a professional, and back it out.
You have to
reverse engineer it.
Yeah, and you have to pick a struggle. You know, pick your struggle. Pick whether you want a huge wedding or you want a small, more intimate, maybe more luxurious wedding. Let's say you have $50,000-$60,000. Don't invite 100 people.
Nope.
Have a beautiful, you want it to look like Pinterest, 40 people wedding, 40-person wedding.
I was thinking 30. That's like the perfect
dinner
number.
Setting, spectacular. You spend the money on the decor, but you got to pick what the lesser evil is for you. And again, going back to this because we touched upon this, your vendors are not the villains. We are not the villains. We are giving you the pricing reality.
You know, there's a bone I want to pick. There's this whole trend that people call wedding professionals and say it's a birthday party as opposed to explaining it's a wedding. I will tell you for myself as a photographer, I approach a wedding completely different. I have different team members with me. I have different equipment with me. I have a different approach for a wedding. I have a different timeline for a wedding. I don't approach it the same, and it doesn't cost the same because there's so much more involved in a wedding.
It's a lot more work.
It's a lot
more editing.
Work.
It's a lot more, believe it or not, like, and I'm going to say this, you are also paying us a portion of the emotional distress. I don't give a shit. It's the truth. Like, we all deal with it when you're taking the pictures, you know, it's a lot of stress that you're dealing with as a photographer.
Because it's not just a party.
No, it's not just a party. There's a lot of detail and a lot of elements that go with it.
Yep.
I had a father of the bride ask me once at the wedding, he says, you know what? If I call the hotel and I tell them it's a birthday party, I bet you they wouldn't have charged me the same. I said it would have been the exact same. Why? Because it's on this date, it's in high season, and they're charging you a price per person for the food and the liquor. You're going to pay the exact same price. It's not because, I don't know what you've heard, but it's not because you say the word wedding that you're paying more. A lot, there's that misconception.
Yeah,
that misconception.
That's my issue. It's like people think because I say it's a wedding, it's going to be more, and that's not. But it isn't at times, because there's a level of service and requirement that I need when I do a wedding that's not the same as I do a party.
Right.
It's a very different approach. So there is a little bit of difference in cost, but if I showed up to a wedding and I don't have my lighting assistant, I don't have my second photographer, and I'm expected to do certain things that I'm not prepared for with gear, they're not going to get the same quality.
And yet you're the vendor that they're trying to negotiate with, right? And then they expect you to save the day if anything goes wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, we are not the villains. We're here to help you. We're not here to upcharge you. We're here to give you what our value is.
Yeah. But be transparent with us and be honest with us with what's going on.
So aesthetic pressure.
That's a lot.
You want the luxury for the gram.
Yeah, I think we often do things for what it's going to look like on social media. Have you seen the new trend where someone's taking a photo and the camera's on them and they take the photo of the person and then they give the phone back or the camera back shaking to see if the other person approves? And they're like, nailed it. That's what it is. We want to make sure we look great on social media, because otherwise, why would you do it? Like, I think people are constantly taking and getting ready for that. The wedding I did recently, I showed the bride the first photo that I shot of her. Her first comment goes, "Oh, my arm looks so beautiful. I was working on that with my trainer." I was like, yes.
The things that people focus on.
And she did. She looked absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and if it's all about the content, let us know it's all about the content in the beginning, and we'll try to help you, as much as possible. But again, everything that you see on social media comes with a price.
It does. Sometimes it creates more tension than it does joy. That is for sure. So let's do the hard truths. Rapid fire. Okay? Hotels are not budget venues. I think this is true.
They're not.
Luxury hotels.
I'm going to say any hotel.
Really?
I mean, think about it.
I
Hotels that have ballrooms,
Yeah.
they're not for the budget.
Interesting.
What's the minimum you're going to pay? Let's just be funny and say, okay, a hotel in Hialeah, because we're always picking on damn Hialeah. Factory town. Let's say $150 per person.
Really?
Let's just say it's $150 per person.
Wow.
Maybe that's budget in Florida.
Yeah. Interesting. So is 50,000 not luxury anymore?
No.
No.
How sad is that?
That is.
Yeah.
I wish it was.
It's kind of like I said earlier, when I had that $80,000 wedding, that I was like, wow, she has a really good budget. And now I look at that and I'm like, I can't do a lot with that.
Yeah. So if you can't afford it, what do you do?
Adjust the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Adjust.
Less people?
Less people.
Mm-hmm.
Change the venue. Less florals.
Yeah.
Not such high expectations. Maybe not seated dinner. Maybe heavy hors d'oeuvres.
I like that.
There's a way to make things work.
Yeah, and I think that's where it goes back to working with a professional who knows where to invest your money. And is it the expectations are expensive or people's preferences?
I think the expectations are expensive.
Yeah.
The expectations are expensive, guys.
So
We try to educate you, okay? Like, we're not being mean. We're just being real, because we constantly get these questions.
Yeah.
And we get looked at when we say no. 100,000 isn't enough for a South Florida wedding.
Yeah.
What do you know? You don't know what you're talking about. And listen, there's people for everybody, but what you come to us with and you show us, we have to be transparent, honest with you, and be like, that's not going to happen with $100,000.
absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us today. I am Manolo Doreste.
I'm Marylen Exposito.
And until next time, see you soon.
Toodles.